there, Assassins, and welcome to episode 15 of Rally the Creed Live. We're a weekly Assassin's Creed community podcast. We focus on the content creators within our community. We also go over Assassin's Creed news coverage and everything else relating to the series. I just want to start off by saying a massive thank you to everyone who has supported us with the show so far. Episode 15, we really appreciate it. I know you guys have been listening on TikTok, YouTube and Spotify. Wherever you're listening, we really appreciate it. So for episode 15, we're doing a special Halloween episode, and we're going to be featuring various guests from the ones that came before throughout the evening. So massive thank you to everyone joining us later on today. We have Calvin Whiteway, we've got SisterlyThrower Andy, and we have Jebs from our art team. So 3 members of the ones that came before. And also for the first time tonight, I'm joined by my co-host, Top Chef 1218, James Davis. Welcome, my friend. It's great to have you. We can host together for the first time.
This is brilliant. This is wonderful.
Looking forward to
lovely,
this.
Great intro, by the way.
Thank you, my friend. It's great to have you on board, and because normally we're interchanging. I do 1 week, you do the next week, so we never really actually get to do this together. But for a special Halloween episode, we're going to be diving into all things dark relating to the series. I wonder if you could tell everyone listening what sort of topics we're going to be covering tonight.
Okay, so guys, first off, welcome for being here again. Just to reiterate what Cole has just said. Thank you for listening on Spotify, YouTube and TikTok. So today we're going to be talking about the darkest moments in the franchise, how dark we think that Hexe could be, supernatural abilities in AC. We're going to talk about the dark, disappointing moments in the franchise and spooky Easter eggs, and Halloween in the AC community, including costumes, carving, and much more.
Very, very spooky evening ahead. I'm looking forward to it. I've got 2 hours with various guests. It's going to be a ton of fun. So if anyone's got any spooky questions, get them in the chat. We'll do our best to answer. But I thought we could start off, James, before we get into all the darkness and the Halloween festivities, I thought we could maybe get into how you've been recently. I'll have a bit of a catch up first, and then we'll start things off very soon. So how are you? I wonder if you could tell us about the PC as well.
I'm doing great. I had a bit of a moment earlier on in the week. I was finding it really difficult to juggle. You'll understand this. It's something we've spoken about with our guests every week, but not really with each other. The difficulties of being a parent and a working person and doing this on the side. And it was I was just talking about how much it's a struggle doing content creation, writing, all these things, and having a full-time job at the same time, and then trying to balance stuff with families and all sorts. So that was I had a bit of wobble in the earlier on in the week, but we're okay now. We're okay.
Very difficult was really balance, and I guess like you say, it's very much a juggle. And yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of difficulties when it comes to time management. Obviously you feel like your audience is waiting for you, but then at the same time, when it comes to parenting, the children need you. So it's a really difficult balance. And that's the thing with being a content creator and a parent as well. I mean, at the end of the day, the kids come first, but you don't want to let your audience down. So it really is about managing the time you have. It's so difficult, James. So being there myself, especially when my boy was a lot younger in the early stages, it was particularly difficult because there were no real moments to write a script or create a video. I didn't really have that free time. So yeah, it's just about doing your best. But what I'd say is that the AC community will always be there. If you do need a week off or 2 weeks or whatever it might be, and it's a difficult balancing act, and hopefully you've managed to get to the sort of outcome you're happy with, and also in terms of time with the kids as well. But yeah, on a personal level, it can be really a struggle. I've got a great message here from Nikki. It's a lot to juggle. We are a team to manage to give time to everything and everyone. Absolutely, that's it. And that's the thing with the ones that came before as well. I mean, we always want to give everyone as much support as possible, and respect for bringing that up as well, because it is difficult being a parent and a content creator as well.
Yeah, it was obviously you'll know this. You're writing a script right now for a video and stuff, and you want to put as much effort and into it as you possibly can. So you're doing that, and then you've got the kids, and then you've got work, and it's a real struggle. But on the upside to that, I get to spend some great time with people like yourself and everyone in the ones who came before us team. Nicola is an absolute rock. That I couldn't do this without her whispering in my ear just to keep going, or to keep trying, and I'm doing the right thing. So it's been a hard week, but I'm on the other side of it now, so that's okay. And on the plus side of that, we had a new computer, new motherboard, new CPU, everything, and it's all running smoothly. It's all going really well. It looks really great, and I'm very happy. It's very quiet as well, so anyone who's watched my lives before can probably hear the computer in the background just whizzing away. But the fans on this new computer, they're so quiet. Even I'm struggling to hear them, and they're literally right underneath my legs.
That's cool.
So yeah, it's been a busy week, but we're here now. And we went yesterday, in a personal note, we went to do some engagement photo shoot. So we did like an engagement photo shoot in like a old ruined, what was it called? Houghton House, which is not too far away from us. It's about an hour and a half.
Oh, fantastic.
And it was like it was me, Nicola, and the kids, and we did like a little photo shoot for engagement photos and stuff. So it was really nice. So that kind of took me away from everything, which gave me a much needed break, I think, and it was really good. So, but I've also been looking forward to this, so we can.
Yeah, it's something a bit different tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. What about yourself? How is everything? How's the pregnant wife? How's everything going with that? How's
yeah, all fine, to be fair. We're 20 weeks tomorrow.
Fantastic.
So the halfway stage, really. We've got an important scan on Wednesday, so that's the anatomy scan. So as everyone knows, that's like the big one, but hopefully nothing too scary at that one. Obviously, I always get scared before any type of scan, but yeah, everything's looking positive right now. And in terms of everything else, I've just been working loads, to be honest. And then when I've not been working, I've been clipping this podcast. So you might have seen like all the Rally the Creed clips that have been featured on TikTok and YouTube. I've literally just been like rewatching all our episodes. I'm on episode 11 right now. I have to watch back every single episode, find like 2 or 3 minute clips that I think are interesting, and then edit them with like fading effects, add the captions, and then go through the captions and edit them again. It takes about half an hour per clip, and I'm doing 3 or 4 a day. So that's like 2 hours a day of just like Assassin's Creed clips to promote the podcast. And some of them have been doing really well, you know, like some of them have been getting like 700, 800 views. And the way I see it is that could be like, you know, let's say we get half of them people as like recurring viewers, and we're building a bit of a following, like a regular following. So yeah, it's cool. So it makes it worth it. And eventually we'll get up to date and we can be more like up to date and like relevant, I guess, because sometimes like the clips and like obviously as more updates come out, it become a little bit outdated. But yeah, doing my best with that. And then the other cool thing is obviously this podcast today, and then on Tuesday I'm actually a guest on the Podyssey. So I've been listening to loads of that at work recently, and I've just been so busy really with Assassin's Creed stuff that I've not really had time for anything else. I've been editing articles for the website. You guys might have seen we've released 2 yesterday. One of them's like a roadmap breakdown by Zephyrus, and then we also had another one as well with it was the Assassin's Creed Syndicate 10-year anniversary, so we also did something for that. Gustav made a video, and then we've done a bit of a write-up, so I edited that. So yeah, I've just been super busy with Assassin's Creed and working, and also parenting as well, and a full-time job. So finding time for everything. But like we said before, it's all about balance, and I seem to have struck a good balance in the last 2 weeks. And I've got a bit of a deadline myself because I go away on holiday to the Scottish Highlands on Thursday, and then officially start my holiday on Saturday the 1st. But Friday I'm at a bit of a Halloween party with my family, which is up in Carlisle, where I'm from. So it's like on the way to Scotland, and then I'm literally going to be in like a remote cabin off the grid next to a loch near Toblermore, if you've heard of that. You know where Ballamore is.
I am absolutely jealous. Absolutely jealous.
It's going to be good.
As you know, Scotland's a massive thing for us. So I'm jealous to no end. So enjoy yourself, and being off the grid sounds like so much fun.
Thank you very much. I'm very much looking forward to it. I should still be able to keep in touch with the ones that came before in the AC community. There is Wi-Fi, but I won't be like glued to my screen, because that's something I'm guilty of in normal life, to be fair. I will take a bit of time to maybe read a book, do a jigsaw, play a bit of football in the garden with my little boy, just focus on things like that and have a bit of time with the family. But looking forward to it. But yeah, that's been acting like a bit of a deadline. Like you mentioned before, I'm writing a script currently for a YouTube video, currently about Claws of Awaji. So yeah, I've just been so busy, to be honest. So I've not stopped. So that's been my week. And like literally every single day until Thursday when I go away, I'm literally doing something. Like if it's not a shift, it's like something relating to AC, like a podcast, or I'm going to be writing a script. And, on our joint calendar, James, it's just full right now because we're non-stop at the minute.
Yeah, on the joint calendar, I thought I'd get ahead of us a bit, and I marked in some dates for like the next episodes and stuff. And I don't know if you went as far as December.
No.
But I kind of marked in a possible break for the Christmas period.
Fair enough.
Just so that we could basically just take some time for ourselves and
it's a good
enjoy
idea.
ourselves. But
what we might do is maybe some bonus episodes, record them in advance. I mean, this is technically a Halloween episode because there's a good chance Charlie's going to be able to release it on Halloween itself, the 31st. So yeah, I wouldn't mind like doing some bonus episodes, because obviously you guys listening, you already know that I'll be stepping down as host in March due to my wife giving birth. Obviously family comes first, and I'll be taking a 6-month hiatus from Assassin's Creed. So I'll be taking a back seat. I'll just let the team coordinate all things relating to our AC community, and then podcast host, and James is going to be full host. It's going to be an interesting time, isn't it? Because you're going to be like directing everything. You're going to have your own guests. It's going to be a tough one, but capable hands. It's going to be good.
I'm not too sure about capable hands, but we'll definitely give it a go. I've been frantically messaging so many people, so many emails going out to try and get something to see what guests we could possibly get. I may have messaged a couple of voice actors from the series to see if, even if, like when I messaged Rick, I didn't expect him to say, yeah, let's do it. So it's almost if you don't ask, you don't get. So we're out here just asking anybody and everybody to join. So I'm trying to get as many guests in.
It's all about bringing people together, and obviously the name Rally the Creed. We are trying to rally the Creed together, bring everyone in one place, and whether it be fans, developers, voice actors, everyone's welcome on Rally the Creed. And yeah, it's just a great time to get personal with people, discuss their relation to the franchise, because everyone's got a different AC story they can tell. And yeah, if any of you guys have got any guest suggestions, leave them in the comments. We're open to anything. We'll do our very best to get people on who you'd like to see. But got a really good comment from Podge. For Halloween, you should do a special on the darkest chapter in Assassin's Creed, AC Rogue. Well, I think you might have missed the intro. You're in for a treat, Podge. Because
you're in the right place, Podge.
Yeah, you are in the right place, because that is one of the things we're going to be discussing tonight. AC Rogue, you think, is the darkest chapter in Assassin's Creed. That's interesting, because we're actually going to discuss going even darker, and we're going to be discussing like the Assassin's Creed Unity DLC, Dead Kings. That was pretty dark. Wrath of the Druids is another one. Jack the Ripper. I would argue they're all darker than Rogue.
Jack the Ripper is definitely up there as the it has to be in the top 5 darkest moments, surely.
Definitely, but yeah, for sure. I'd love to hear, Podge, why you think that's the darkest moment, but you are definitely in the right place. And yeah, James said at the start all the topics we're going to be getting into, and we'll kickstart things in a second on our Halloween topic, because we are on a bit of a time schedule tonight. Guests are going to be jumping in and out every half an hour. So we're joined by someone else. It's going to be Calvin at 5:30. James, what do you think the darkest moment in AC is so far?
I think it's a really difficult one, because what are we classing as dark? Are we? I think, because this is the thing, isn't it? Darkest moment. Are we talking horror wise? Are we talking scare wise? Or are we talking just dark in general? Because Bayek losing his son, that is a dark moment. So potentially it's that. You've got Ezio losing his entire family. There's so many different things.
That's a very good point. I'm thinking Connor's village burning to the ground.
Yeah,
his mom, like for sure. There's tons of darkness. I'm thinking more recently Narwe's father getting killed in front of her.
Yeah.
Like the series never strays away from the dark path, and it's people like Darby McDevitt. They know how to twist the knife.
Definitely, and
tell a brutal story.
I think, especially in Shadows, I think one of the new gem rules that you have to take out is that I think that has probably been one of the darker moments in game. But I would probably go with I think it has to be Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
To take a real life serial killer and turn that narrative pretty much upside down on its head. I think that was a brave, bold move from Ubisoft, and I think that will forever be a dark moment in the franchise.
Yeah, I totally agree with this, James. It's such a dark moment. Even like looking at the streets of London, they're different. Obviously, the time jumps 20 years from 1868 to 1888 when Jack the Ripper was haunting the streets of London, and even like seeing his victims, like just seeing the condition he left them in, and then all of a sudden you're Evie Fry almost playing a bit of a detective role, using like eagle vision and the blood spatter and everything. It's just brutal knowing that this is based on true events.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's based on true events makes it, I think for me, why it's one of the darkest moments, because everyone knows about it. Like everyone understands what it is. So I think I do think that will forever be number one for most people.
Yeah, it's really dark. And Gustav, he covered it in the recent Assassin's Creed Syndicate video that he did, and he really likes the Jack the Ripper DLC. But for me, it's a bit close to the bone. I found it a bit strange to be playing as was saying Jack the Ripper was a member of the Assassin Brotherhood that went rogue, and I don't know if I like that, to be honest. I think it's a very strange narrative to tell. I don't know if the brand should really be linking itself to real life serial killers, and I don't know, it made me a bit uncomfortable when it was first revealed, to be truthfully honest.
I have to agree, especially when you look at it. So obviously we know many people's feelings about Yasuke, but I don't remember anybody kicking up such a stink and complaining so much when we were running around as Jack the Ripper. So for me, it's always been a bit of a dodgy one.
Yeah.
You're trying to justify someone that brutally murdered women with no real cause, and you used it as a storyline. I think it's a bold move from Ubisoft for sure. I just don't know if it necessarily sat very well with me either. I think it was always a tough position to be in.
And I know it was over 100 years ago, but it still makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't know if any of the victims have relations today. Like,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, to be honest, but it's still like not recent, but recent enough to be like well documented, and obviously not within living memory. But yeah, it just sat wrong with me at the time. I was like, well, this is very strange. And then we're saying that the victims were related to the Assassin Brotherhood. They were like spies for the Assassins, and that's why he took them out. But yeah, even like the gameplay mechanics, like the mask he wears is a bit like Ed Gein. I'm not sure if you've seen the show recently on Netflix. Horrifying, don't recommend. And a lot of it's fictional as well, so not so sure about that show. But yeah, with like the bag mask he wears, and you never actually see Jack's real face, and he's got the fear mechanics where he like walks around the corner and he can scare people. I don't know, it's just so strange that it's like,
I always felt like they saw Scarecrow in the Arkham games, and we're like, oh yeah, we could do something with this, but instead of doing something with it, they used a real life Jack the Ripper, and I just don't know if that would have been, if that was the right way to go about it. But
that's a good comparison, with the Scarecrow and the fear mechanics. That's an interesting take on it, and I definitely see the similarities there.
Whenever I look at the Jack the Ripper artwork, especially like that, like when you look at the DLC and he's got him stood with his top hat on, and I instantly think about it every time I see it. I'm like, that's Scarecrow. Every time I see it, I'm like, and then I just can't. It's a great DLC, but I just don't know how I feel about essentially saying that someone who was historically bad was a good guy. I don't know how I feel about that. That's the bit I'm not too sure about.
Yeah, and the whole like relationship with Jacob as well. It's basically saying that Jacob Fry created Jack the Ripper through the way he engaged with him versus other people. Like he wasn't giving him the attention, so it's almost like father issues going on.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah,
it's very strange to me. It's not what I picture when I think of like Jack the Ripper in the history books. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you've gone down their own road with it, and yeah, it is dark though. I've got to give it that. Like I mentioned before, with the investigating the crimes and everything, even like the streets of London, like there's just like a sinister vibe, very like Sweeney Todd, if you've seen that film, which I actually really like Sweeney Todd.
I like Sweeney Todd too. Yeah, maybe they should do an Assassin's Creed musical. Maybe that would be pretty good.
I'd actually go see that. I enjoy.
I think I'd go and see it too. Yeah.
And there's an event in London next month that Jebs, who's joining us later on, she can tell us about. It's Teki, one of the composers from the Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, I did see, because someone on LinkedIn posted that tickets and stuff were going up and something else, and I was like, unfortunately, I will be busy that day, so I couldn't even if I wanted to, I don't think I could go. But it would be good to go to these things.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I mean, that's the cool thing with the events in the UK. I mean, they're not always in London. Sometimes they're in Manchester with like MCM Comic Con, and other ones are like in Birmingham. So they do spread out a little bit. And I do Wales Comic Con most years. So yeah, we'll have to meet up at some of these events.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be cool. But a great comment from Podge. So the most mysterious serial killer in history had daddy issues.
Yeah, 100%.
It seems that way from what I got from the DLC. So that's what I took away from it anyhow, that Jacob basically made this serial killer who then went on and committed the crimes. But like I said, it just didn't sit so right with me. But that's probably what I would regard as like the darkest corner of Assassin's Creed. And when I think back to like Assassin's Creed Unity, I'm not sure if you played the Dead Kings DLC, James. You play that one?
I have it, but I haven't played it because I can't deal with Arno and his crybaby issues. I can't deal with that. That's someone with daddy issues for sure.
It's a recurring theme in Assassin's Creed.
I literally, when you said about daddy issues for the most mysterious serial killer, I was like, I'm pretty sure almost everybody in Assassin's Creed, if they're a protagonist in the series, all have daddy issues.
Yeah, I mean,
I think pretty much everyone. You've got Cassandra. Her dad tried to chuck her off a cliff. You got Connor. He's got the biggest daddy issues. You got Haytham. His daddy issues. You got Ezio with his daddy issues. I think it's just a running theme.
It seems to be. Yeah. That's how you make an assassin, isn't it?
100%. I think if you're going to be an assassin, you have to have daddy issues. I think that's the
bad parenting or a tragedy happened to your dad figure. I mean, yeah. Arno got done twice, didn't he? Because he lost his real dad and then he lost his Templar dad. Brutal.
Just the fact that he had a real dad and a Templar dad, that's enough to screw with anybody, I think.
It's confusing and conflicting ideologies going on there, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, who do you listen to?
That's it. So with the Dead Kings DLC, I seem to remember like Arno it was a little bit after the events of Unity. He had like darker robes. They were like brown, flowing robes, and I just remember him like taking the piece of Eden, which was like, this is like a little bit spoilery, but it has been out 8 years, 10 years.
It's been a while.
Maybe longer. There was like a mouth, which was like a lantern, and it had like a piece of Eden in, which was like a mini apple of Eden, I believe. Okay. And it was hidden underneath like a catacomb, like a crypt. I just remember him having powers with that piece of Eden of like sending bats to attack people. And he was almost like Batman at one point. Like he was walking with the lantern like this, like a Hagrid sort of look with the lantern. And these bats are just flying around, and the atmosphere is super creepy with like blue lighting everywhere. And Napoleon's underneath the crypt looking for the piece of Eden. And it was like a really dark chapter. I had a really great trailer as well, which I recommend checking out, where he like jumps down this like well, like looking for things, and he's like dropping smoke bombs and jumping on people. It was a really cool trailer. I remember it revealing itself, and I was like, wow, this looks super dark for Assassin's Creed. But then since then, we've obviously had Wrath of the Druids, which has had like werewolves. We've had so much like a darkness. And that's just one example, but obviously Shadows more recently as well with the Claws of Awaji. That was a dark installment there. And even though it was like 10 to 15 hours, even like walking around the island or on horseback, most likely, you get a real supernatural sense that the island is cursed.
Yeah. I obviously, you spoke last week about Awaji. I really liked it. I thought it added a nice atmosphere to the game. I do understand the complaints for it, but I definitely think it was much darker than the main game. Those things that they made for Awaji, I really wish they'd put them in the main game, because I think it would have made everything feel a bit more alive and a bit more open and a bit more enjoyable. But it's definitely a lot darker, especially that one general that you have to kill. And I really enjoyed that mission as well.
When you say things like on Awaji, you're talking about like the traps, for example?
Yeah, the traps, the spies, all of the little military camp things that were put up. I think think they were really good. Obviously, the more you did, the more that went up. I thought it just added so much more to the game, especially when you're riding through and you see someone and it's like, oh, that must be a merchant. So you run over, but in actual fact, it's a spy, and then it catches you off guard. Or I just thought it was really good and really enjoyable. I think it made the game more fun. Like, I had fun playing Shadows, and I still do, but I think it just made it that much more better.
Yeah, it's a valid take. And you know the title of my video I'm writing, don't you?
I remember you saying, but I can't. What was it?
It's called The Flaws of Awaji.
The Flaws of Awaji, yeah. That's a good one. I like that, yeah.
Thank you very much. But yeah, I mean, totally agree with your points. Like, all them things would be great in the main game. I think for me, from like a narrative perspective, is where I'm really leaning with this video. So one of the points I'm trying to make is how Junjiro isn't necessary at all to Assassin's Creed Shadows, doesn't add anything, and somehow is like the lean and like the way you get into this Claws of Awaji DLC. It all starts with Junjiro at the hideout and the Bowmaster and all this, and I just find him an unnecessary character who's like the annoying brother trope is what I find. I think they're like a broken family is how I see it. So you've got Yasuke is almost like the dad, Naoya is like the sister, Junjiro is like the annoying brother, and Tomoko's like the mother, and it's like a broken family unit. And I just think everyone contributes something in some respect apart from Junjiro. I just find him so annoying, so he gets his own section.
Oh, wow, an entire section.
I've written the script.
I actually really liked Junjiro. I thought it was...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it was great. There is someone I don't particularly like in the hideout, and that's is it Naoya's aunt?
Tomoko?
I'm not a big... For me, she feels like the unnecessary...
Oh, interesting. It's her land.
Yeah, but that's literally it. Yeah. Other than that, she does absolutely nothing else.
I was saying this in the episode with Andy Reloads. I was saying that she's just the landlady, isn't she?
Yeah, she just literally does nothing else.
I get it. I don't find her annoying though, but I can see where you're coming from. She doesn't really contribute much.
At least Junjiro is annoying as a brother.
Right.
I always found Junjiro to be like, he was always... I see him as the reminder of humanity, that he reminds Naoya that we're all people at the end of the day. Like,
that's a cool take.
I think for me it was always like, obviously he was one of the bad guy's sons. Yeah. But he wants to kill Naoya at the start, then doesn't. And then he actually really likes her. And then I think it was to remind her that there are people out there that necessarily are bad, but not always bad. So he wanted to do what he thought was right. But I always found him as a grounding character. But
that's interesting. I think for me, it comes down to the voice acting as well. Like, I don't know why I find this little kid very American. I don't know if you
I 100% agree with you. As you were talking, it's like he sounds American every time I hear him. Like, it's really weird. Like, it's almost like was it Chris Rock in Rush Hour? Right. It's like he's trying to put on a Japanese accent, but it's really bad.
So we need a future update, patching his voice, and then maybe it'll fix it to some degree. And also, I find he's always there at the end. So Assassin's Creed Shadows ends, he's there with his hands on his hips, looking off into the distance. And he's like, but we got more work to do. I'm like, right, okay. Got more work to do. And I'm like, I don't really want to do anything for you. You're annoying. And then the DLC ends, and then again he's just there. I'm like, just go away, Junjiro. I've had enough. But yeah, I've gone off track a bit. There's a lot more to the video than that. That's just one point. I have written the whole script. I'm going to do a full section on this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just wanted to point out what Podge has just said. Never once have I seen someone kill for the first time and go, oh my God, what did I do? I think Norway did. I think she's the only one that ever went, oh crap,
Basim?
what have I...
Basim does the kill, and he's panicking, and then
that's good.
His whole village dies.
Yeah,
he's like, oh my God, what did I do? I know he thinks Nihal needed protection.
Yeah, I think he thought she did it. Yeah,
some hallucination going on there, but really that's him, and he panics and he runs, but obviously they follow him, find him, and then destroy his entire life.
Yeah.
Really, he has to start anew with the assassins. It sort of pushes him into that direction. But yeah, even Ezio sort of like owns it. He's like, they are sorry, they're not dead. I'm still here.
Yeah, it's the best line in any
powerful.
It's the best line in any AC game for sure. Like when I think I was talking about this the other day. It was that 360 pan of him as he stood up, and as he stood up, the camera just follows with him as well, and it's like, oh, this is just fantastic. This is great.
And if
me and Calvin were talking about it, it was just such a good moment.
I've noticed the time, James, and we are.
I was just about to say, who's first in?
We are missing Calvin, guys. We sort of expected technical difficulties, time slot issues, but that's okay. That's the beauty of working live. So that's okay. Calvin may have missed his slot, but if you haven't seen last week's episode, it went up today on YouTube, and I'm going to be launching it on Spotify tomorrow. Really great episode with James hosting, and you sort of just discover what love really is.
Oh God!
Honestly, guys,
no!
Such a funny episode. You need to check it out. Calvin's such a funny guy, and yeah, you're trying to tell him about such a deep thing, and it's just not sitting with him. He just can't comprehend it. It's so funny.
It was so random because we were talking about mental health and stuff, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, what's love? And I'm just like, oh my God, how am I supposed to answer this? Like, this is such a random question, and to be unprepared for it as well, because you can't really explain it because it's different for everybody. It was fun, but it wasn't a great.
I enjoyed it. It was great. And there were other Assassin's Creed topics discussed as well, but that was a highlight for me. It was so good, and not just me as well, because Siraj from our art team today posted an incredible meme of a Trojan horse that said James trying to talk about mental health, and then Calvin inside saying, "What is love?"
I'll see if I can.
Good. Enjoyed. I want to go through it on screen maybe in the edit. We'll get in, but yeah.
Take off the stand.
I just. Props to Siraj. I thought it was excellent.
There you go.
Yes. It.
That was it.
I think it's great. And if you guys want to make any memes about Rally the Creed, we'd love to see them. Send them our way. You can hit the contact button in the top right hand corner on the Once Again Before website. Drop a comment at any point with a meme. We will share it. We'll discuss it. Or any topics in general, feel free to send it our way. More than happy to cover it. So, James, this sort of brings me on to my next topic. We've discussed like some of the darkest chapters in Assassin's Creed. So I was wondering, how dark do you think Assassin's Creed Hexe can go?
I think I don't know too much about the witch trials, but I have seen many like films and stuff about the witch trials. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Season of the Witch.
No.
I think it's Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman.
Yeah,
it's a really good film. I imagine it would be quite. I imagine they're going to lean very heavily into Isu lore. It's going to be very dark, very misty, very. Almost, was it the the Druid DLC from Valhalla, when you had to fight those witches, I imagine it's going to be, that kind of dark, but maybe even darker.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed like the boss battles with like the main witches across the island.
Me too. I actually think that's the best DLC for Valhalla.
Right.
I actually think it's better than Valhalla, full stop.
Do you?
Yeah, Valhalla's like my least favorite, but I think that was such a good DLC. I think Hex is going to be equally as dark. I think we're going to possibly see magic. We're going to see some Isu artifacts, maybe some. I'm hoping they lean very heavily into Isu lore. I think it'll be quite good.
I hope so. I really hope so, because it can't be like magical. It can be like a piece of Eden, like using them sort of like abilities or something from maybe like an illusion of the apple or something. But it can't just be that a girl's woken up with magical powers unless it's sort of like linked to a piece of Eden in some regard.
I would also be, something we spoke about before, I would actually be equally happy if there was no magic at all.
Right.
I think if the theory I have is that they're burning Templars at the stake and using witches as an excuse.
Interesting. Okay. So this would be the assassins in charge?
No, it would be the Templars in charge. The Templars are finding either assassins or assassin allies.
Right,
and to justify to the people what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just burning them at the stake for witchcraft, when actually it's just Isu artifacts that they've got, or what have you. I think that would be really good. I think Shadows did something really well. Do you remember the yokai?
Yes, I enjoyed them on the objectives board.
Yeah, you know how it was supposed to be mythical creatures, but they actually weren't. They were just normal people.
Yes, one of them was like a serial killer. One of them was in a bed sheet. Yeah, it's still really interesting. The melon heads.
Yeah, you got the little kids and the melon heads, and I think that was really good, because to me, that's how folklore, that's how legends, that's how these sort of things come about.
Right.
So I would like something even like that would be.
I did enjoy that. What I would say is the very end mission of that is very strange, because it almost is like this one was a real yokai.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was almost like this one has actually got like supernatural powers, and that's not really explained. But the rest of them, you've got like a serial killer in a cave, and then you've got like the shouting woman who's seen as like a banshee in the forest. So there were some really clever ones. I really enjoyed them as well. But it would be cool to see stuff like that. And I like your point as well with the Templars manipulating who gets burned at stake, and that sort of reminds me of AC2 with Ezio's family obviously being accused of treason, and then they find themselves hanged. It could be exactly the same, and for some reason I think for the first time they're going to have a little sister get killed in this. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling that that's where the series is going. We've had sons and daughters and things like that, but we've never really had like a little sister die that I can think of anyhow. And I just feel like the main character, I think people have been floating around the name Eliza or Eva, something like that. I think it was Eliza. Maybe her sister could be one to get killed. And I'm sort of thinking like Hunger Games as well, like the motivation that could cause. That's how I'm seeing it.
Oh, that's just given me a great idea. Because I was like, that we always have, it's always fathers, it's always sons, it's always brothers. Even in my pitch for an Assassin's Creed game in Scotland, it was fathers and sons.
Right.
I think it's because, I don't know why, there's just something really emotional about killing a girl, or there's something really raw about it. And I think it would work really well. But as you were speaking, I was like, what if they killed... A family thought that they killed their daughter, but in actual fact, she was rescued by the assassins and brought up in the Brotherhood.
That's cool.
Like you think that she's dead, but actually she's not. And she just appears like she wants to go and visit her family, but she can't because they can't know that she's alive, and all these different... I think that would be really good. I think as long as... I'm really looking forward to see what they do. I'm assuming we know which studio's writing is doing it.
I'm not sure. Is it Montreal? I'd have to say.
I saw something the other day that was like, let's have a look.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it goes around in terms of the rotation. Yeah, I mean, Quebec was obviously the lead studio on Shadow, so I'm assuming Montreal.
Yeah, it is. It's Montreal. And literally, as I just had a look, and they're developing Hexe, a project known for being a darker, more unique take on the franchise. The game is set during the Holy Roman Empire's witch trials in the 17th century, and it will be the next major single-player installment.
It's going to be so dark.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's going to be really dark. So I'm assuming it's the Holy Roman Empire. That's a broad area, that is.
Yeah.
Do we know?
I think it's Germany.
I was going to say
from what's gone around the internet.
If we knew exactly where it was, that would be great. Like,
I actually got an idea, James, relating to similar to what you said with your pitch, but I was thinking, what if the assassins were pretending to be witches to sort of hide their true intentions, so they could go for like a ceremony on a hill, I'm thinking, with like a cauldron and stuff, like traditional witch things, while it's like the top of like a coffin, like in Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they're like actually inside trying to like mine their way to get a piece of Eden or something, and it's just like to keep people away.
Oh, that could be a good idea, actually. What if they created the story of witches to give themselves an air of mystery so that people would leave them alone?
This is like Harry Potter, isn't it? With the... I don't know if you've seen that, but there's a pub in Hogsmeade called like the Shrieking Shack, and it's where they go to transform into the beasts in the third one. And they sort of make up like the mystery and lore of that pub being like haunted so that they can use it as like a hideout.
Oh, really?
Sort of thing there.
I've watched Harry Potter and I don't remember that.
Right.
I'm not, if I'm honest, I'm not a big, massive Harry Potter fan. Right. So,
it just got me thinking, what if it could be like a smoke screen for the real intentions of what they're up to?
Oh, yeah,
or maybe they could even be like experimenting on pieces of Eden.
I think what's really good is that we're coming up with what seems like great ideas, and we're just two average Joes. Can you imagine what an entire studio with dedicated writers could come up with? I think we're in for a shock in a good way, but I also think a bad way as well. I feel like the franchise is heading for a change again.
Yes.
And I think it's going to. I feel like Hexe is going to divide people.
Quite possibly, yeah.
I think you're going to have people that love it, and then you're going to have people that are like, Assassin's Creed doesn't need to be this dark. Why is it so dark? Why is it so this? Because talking about Awaji the other day, I was talking to someone in my chat, and they were like, "Oh, I hated the tripwires." And all those like ambushes and all those. I just wanted to run around and play the game. I was like, they added so much to the game.
Yeah, they make.
And my worry is that we're going to get stuff probably almost similar, if not worse. Not worse, but like on the same sort of level. And I can just imagine the people that are going to be like, well, I told you this wasn't going to be very good. Like, this is a problem. This is going to be this. And I feel like Hexe is going to be the new RPG era. I think we're going to have a Hexe era, a dark era.
Going back to what you said about Claws of Awaji, there's that target, isn't there? The ambusher.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the 4 Templars. I wonder if that sort of like supernatural creepiness could find its way moving across to Hexe, because she's sort of like hidden in the undergrowth and the bushes, and you sort of use your eagle sense to sort of track down the voice and the sound.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting like mechanic there with the sound, but I wonder if they could sort of move across that like creepy sort of vibe she's got. So it'd be interesting to see, because like they had the mask, the gun, but really like it was like another person who could do parkour. It's very rare you see a Templar that can do parkour. And yeah, I just found that like creepy vibe on Claws of Awaji quite interesting, and maybe mirrors what we could see in the future installment of Hexe.
That woman was actually my favorite character from Awaji.
The name escapes me. I can't think of what
it begins with an N, but I can't.
Yeah.
But she was fantastic. I think that entire enigma around her as well, because we don't really know much about her. We don't know what she looked like.
Noaki. Thank you, Andy.
And I was like, do you know what? This is almost the Haytham thing all over again. The less we know about a character, the more I want to know about a character. Like, I don't know much about her, and I'm just like, I want to know more. I want to know what led her to that point. I want to know why, because like you said, there's not many Templars that can parkour. And we haven't seen a Templar properly parkour since Haytham, so...
O'Shea, maybe?
But he would have learned that from his assassin days,
right.
So... I just think I'm just so super excited for Hexe. I think it's going to be fantastic. Like, there isn't an Assassin's Creed game I don't like. I think they're all good on a certain level, except for a few. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be good as well. I think we've covered some interesting topics there, and like where the storyline can go. But in terms of like mechanics that they could add, I'm thinking along the lines of like Dishonored with Pieces of Eden, maybe like animal control. I'm thinking like sending cats off to, like the eagles in Assassin's Creed, where your like eagle sense is on par. You'd send the eagle up in the air to be your eyes, like be my eyes, Senu. What if you get the cat to be your eyes, or get the rat to be your eyes?
Cat vision. Oh, that could be a good
cat vision. It's not got the same ring to it.
Cat vision, that would be great. Trying to think what mechanics I've seen and what I would like. Again, it's really difficult. I definitely think I almost feel like a decoy system would be pretty good if they had like something that could pop, almost like a smoke bomb or something that would pop up and give the illusion of someone stood there. I think
that's creepy.
I think that would be really good. But
now you've said that, it's got me thinking. Actually, I'm thinking like Assassin's Creed 1 with the Apple of Eden. You know how Altair like splits himself into like 4 or 5. What if you could send like illusions of yourself, like all over the place? That would be so freaky. That would be like you are like everywhere at once.
Yeah, that would be That'd be good if you could do like a if we could see, like, you know how Basim has his teleportation skill, and we're just supposed to believe that he's so fast that he's almost teleporting. If we could literally see multiple of you as you're moving to this spot, I think that would be pretty cool. So obviously, you know that I'm writing a what if scenario for Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
What would be your what if?
My what if, as in like what?
Yeah, what if you could change something, like a what if? What if like, let's say Ezio became a Templar instead?
Okay.
What if what if Ezio's dad didn't die? How would that look? All these different
Oh, interesting. I never really think about things like that, but I'd probably say like a what if Desmond didn't die, because then the modern day would have like continued, I guess, in like the direction it was going. I think it would have been better, because obviously you get like the third person removed in terms of like Black Flag, Rogue. You get the first person employees of Abstergo, and it just drops off really, doesn't it? And you get Layla, and I think the whole modern day suffers.
So our first guest, ladies and gentlemen, is the ones who came before, #1 streamer. He streams every Tuesday and Thursday.
That's right.
He's currently playing through Shadows, I believe, still.
Yes, we're working on a perfect completionist, making sure I see everything, do everything. I want those gold katanas.
So Andy is part of the video content creation team. He's a great guy, very enthusiastic about Assassin's Creed, and I've worked with him a few times, and it's been great working with him. So welcome in, Andy.
Welcome, Andy. Great to have you on the show again, mate. And the great thing is, I was saying to James before, this is like such a dark episode, and you're such a positive person, so really interested to see where we're going to take this. And James mentioned before our topics of discussion for tonight, where we're talking about the darkest moments in Assassin's Creed, how dark Assassin's Creed Hexe can go, supernatural abilities in the series, the darkest days for Assassin's Creed in terms of disappointment, spooky Easter eggs, and then we want to talk about Halloween in the AC community. And of course, we've got rotating guests tonight, so everyone has a half an hour time slot, so we'll try to get through as much as we can. Calvin sadly hasn't been able to join us tonight, but we're full steam ahead, and so glad you could join us. A few technical difficulties, but always expected. So please, can you tell us where you think Hexe will go in terms of like darkness? I mean, we've just been discussing potentially a sister getting killed. That would be a very dark start to the game. And James was saying as well, what if the assassins could potentially hide people from the Templars or make it look like they died? And how was it you worded it, James? It was really interesting.
So essentially it would be like it's like, oh, the family think that their daughter has been killed because she was tried as a witch, but in actual fact she was saved by assassins and then raised in the Brotherhood. And she can't go and see her family, because if she goes sees her family, Templars will know that she's alive and all these sort of things. So I think that would be a good way to go, I think.
I could definitely see something like that. I like where you're going. I like what you're thinking. Where do I think Hexe is going? Honestly, the first impression I had when I was first hearing about it and hearing the little snippets and bits that we've heard so far, my mind didn't really go to any story beats in particular, but my mind went more the mechanics route. And I, of course, instantly thought of the Assassin's Creed Syndicate DLC with Jack the Ripper. And I remember playing through that. What'd you say, Col?
I'm so glad you're bringing that up, because we sort of mentioned before the Fear mechanic and how that sort of replicates the Scarecrow from Arkham. Yeah.
And I was thinking, what good it would do to lean into that. I could almost imagine a sort of, from the position of the Templars, we're going to initiate this, religion-based purge of the witches. But okay, if you're going to call us witches, then we're going to lean into this, and we're going to lean into it. We're going to embrace it. We're going to, do everything we can. We're going to understand everything we can about science, about the tools that we have, about the historical tools that we have, and the modern improvements that we have on them, and using that to okay, we are going to turn into witches. We are going to, perhaps even, I heard you guys talk earlier about using pieces of Eden and the potential implication for the usage of pieces of Eden to say, yes, if they're going to call us witches, let's become witches.
Just like embrace the full terminology of it, all the aspects that come with it, and just use that as like a smokescreen for what the assassins are really doing, the intentions. I was saying to James before, maybe they're mining underneath, like like the coffins in Assassin's Creed Shadows, maybe like a hill with like a grave under it. I'm thinking like the Dark Brotherhood as well, and like Oblivion and Skyrim, like an underground network.
Yeah,
that could work really well.
Something to that effect, something to the effect of utilizing, because like when I think of witches, I think of the very stereotypical things like you see in like when you're a kid, and you picture like the green skin and all the
pointy
blotches on the face. Yeah. Who are you not going to look twice at if you're just a average everyday citizen? You're not going to look twice. Yeah, exactly. You're not going to look twice at the person whose skin doesn't look like yours, who looks like they might have some sort of disease, and who you've been hearing rumors about all day or all year has the ability to curse you with some sort of supernatural plight, which gives them the freedom to move about freely wherever they want to go, because nobody's going to want to talk to them. Nobody's going to want to pay attention to them. It's just, oh, stay away from me. Oh, you're going over there, behind the building. Cool. I'm just happy I don't have to look at you anymore.
I like that, because the assassins do tend to relate to people in like lower circumstances, for example, like poverty, and like the assassins will like build a network of the people, like the thieves, I'm thinking like the poor, and they will do all they can to like build a relationship with them. So maybe like in that regard, they could work hand in hand together.
Yeah, for sure.
I like the fact that you said about mechanics, because when I think about Hexe, I can't think of mechanics. I can't think about what I want. But then as you were talking, I was thinking, what if we were able to like, how Connor had the rope, the rope dart.
Yeah.
What if we could tie enemies up to trees and hang them from the trees by their feet or whatever? But then I was thinking, actually, now I'm going more. That's more of an Arkham mechanic, and I don't think it would lend itself very well to Assassin's Creed. But I think something like that would change. I don't want to see a mechanic that we've already had. I think we need a whole new mechanics, whole new systems. Sure. I think that would be really, really good. I think that would work really well.
I know personally too, especially after playing through Claws of Awaji, one of the things that I was thinking about is, will I regret this when I'm trying to stream it late at night? Probably, but I'm going to say it here anyway. I'm going to get it officially on the record because I don't care. I'm a brave man. I almost kind of want, I don't know if you guys experienced this too when you were playing through Awaji, but at the start of Awaji, with that idea that you were being hunted, that idea that you were just like walking down the marketplace street, and then all of a sudden somebody comes out around the corner with a shiv, like, oh, okay, I'm afraid now. Because there's always the presumption of safety is, okay, I am an assassin, I'm part of this hidden brotherhood, nobody's going to pay attention to me when I'm walking through, the city or the town, nobody's going to pay attention when I'm walking past me, when they're walking past me, and I can just move about and go wherever I want. I almost want that sense of, like, if you're talking about lending itself to a sense of like darkness, I want that sense of there is no safety for me. I want that sense of, okay, as soon as I leave, like one of the headquarters, as soon as I leave, I am in danger.
That's pretty much what we were just saying, that the good thing about Awaji, for me anyway, was that you constantly felt like you were in danger. Like you'd see a merchant at the side of the road, you get off your horse to go and speak to them, and then as you're walking over to them, actually, it's not a merchant. They want to kill you, or you go up to them, nothing, and then you walk away, and then they try and do something behind your back.
Yep.
I thought was really fantastic. I thought it was a great little addition. I want that sense of oh crap, I need to be careful of everybody, really.
Yeah, I have to
and I remember the first time I played Awaji, I was walking around as Yasuke. I think it's when he first gets to Awaji.
Yeah.
And some woman comes up to me and talks to me and tells me to follow her. So I followed her. She took me to this back alley, and then all of a sudden I'm attacked. And I was so off guard that like I got hit like 3 or 4 times before it really registered with me what was going on. I like that, and I think that would work really well in a hex. But it's just dawned on me, if we're talking dark, what if for the first time since Rogue that we actually played as a Templar? I think that could, literally as I was talking, I'm like, oh, this could work really well actually.
Okay. So this would be like someone in charge of the witch trials.
Yeah.
Or the person who is like hunting down the assassins, hanging them in the street. That could be brutal.
Or maybe instead of, so we had, obviously Shay was an assassin turned Templar and didn't like what he was seeing with the assassins, so swap sides. What if it was the other way around? That let's say the epilogue is you purging assassins for like 6 hours or whatever the epilogue needs to, the prologue needs to be, or whatever, and then the more you go about, the more you learn is that you realize that they're just ordinary people that you're killing. I think that could twist everything narratively on its head really, really well.
I could definitely get behind that.
That's really cool. And going back to what you said before about the mechanics, James, I was thinking with the rope dart, obviously we said we didn't want to see something we've seen before. But as you said it, I could see like different sort of mechanics, and I could see this girl using the rope dart and doing like a horrible witch laugh after doing it.
Yeah.
And you could use it like the war cry in Assassin's Creed Shadows to like cause fear. Just that, I was getting like a Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter laugh vibe going on in my head when you said it.
That could be.
I was like, maybe there's different animation styles you could do with the rope dart. I mean, obviously with Connor, it's a very simple one, but maybe there's different ways you could do it. And then that laugh afterwards is just so like spine chilling, like creepy.
Yeah, maybe it's like so I can't remember which Assassin's Creed it is, but I'm pretty sure when you kill so many enemies, sometimes they'll disengage from you and they'll run away because they're scared. I have a feeling it was 3. I think I could be wrong.
Maybe,
but
it could definitely work in this. So for sure, I mean,
it could work. Say you're surrounded by 5 enemies or whatever. Say you murder 3 of them, and on that 3rd one you brutally assassinate them, and then she lets out this ear-splitting cackle, and then the other 2 are like, "Yeah, no, we're out. Like this is we're off." Maybe that could be like a really good mechanic, and maybe as I'm talking, more and more things are popping into my head.
Okay.
And I'm thinking maybe instead of a wanted system, why not like a fear meter? So the more the more you do, the higher the fear meter goes up. That could work really well, I think.
I think that'd be great. I think you could pull a lot of old mechanics that we haven't seen in many, many years, because I don't know if you guys remember this. This just flashed into my memory. In Assassin's Creed Revelations, there was you guys remember the bombs you used to be able to make?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys recall this, but there was an entire bomb that you used to be able to make that the whole purpose was to throw it at a guard, and there was very little explosive in it, so it didn't actually like hurt anyone, but it covered like everything in like a certain radius with, I think it was like lamb's blood.
Oh yeah,
to make them think that they had been like horribly injured. And that was the effect that even back then that they had been playing with was, okay, I didn't actually kill anybody. I didn't actually hurt anybody. But in a realm where, I'm trying to, utilize this fear system, I'm personally wondering, what is the power balance going to look like? I really like what they did with Nawe in Assassin's Creed Shadows, where there was a really well done balance for me between, if I'm coming up behind you, like, you're gone. Like, I can take care of you easily. If I whiff, like if I fall off a building, which I'm sure happens to all of us, I've
never fallen off a building. I have in Shadows, but I've never personally fallen off a building.
If I whiff and fall off a building and I happen to drop into a courtyard with just one other guy, okay, I'm relatively confident in my ability to handle this. But if he has enough time to call out for reinforcements and 5, 6, 7 people start coming in, I start to disengage from that because my power level is just, I don't have the skill set for this. I don't have the tools for this. This is not the right character for this. I'm personally wondering if it would almost be beneficial to have such a power balance even more slanted towards you cannot deal with large groups of people. So inducing fear is literally your only option. If you're trying to storm some sort of like castle or stronghold, yeah, you can take out one if you really want to, but you don't have you can make the argument like maybe you don't have the equipment for it, maybe you don't have the protection for it, maybe you don't have the quality of weapons since, you're the one being purged and resources are hard to come by. You have a hidden blade, so yeah, I can take care of him. But if he's staring at 3 other guys, I suddenly have to get smart and think, okay, how do I terrify all of them to get out because I don't have another choice?
I like that.
Is that looking hard into it? I don't know, but that's what I'm thinking.
I think that's a really smart thing. I'm thinking like Mirage, where you can only fight several at a time really before you get overwhelmed. But in this case, you have like the fear system to deter them. You can scare them off. You can maybe even you could make up rumors about yourself in the area, like paying the heralds, for example.
That'd be a good one, that would. Yeah.
You could make them tell stories of what you've been up to. Maybe the assassin den is in the woods and you tell people, make up a ghost story about nearby. And yeah, I think there's tons of stuff. You've really got us thinking, Andy, and we're coming to the end of our time together. So I had one more mechanic I wanted to go over, if I can remember it, with Hexe. Seems to have slipped my mind now, but so we'll move on from Hexe and we'll bring it up again with Jebs. I'll probably remember it later. The darkest days of Assassin's Creed in terms of disappointment. Where would you say, have you ever encountered this yourself, or where would you say you've ever been disappointed with the series? James as well, I'm interested to know your take on this.
Nobody wants to hear my take on this.
You're going to say Black Flag.
Nobody wants to hear my take on this.
Well, Andy, you go first.
Disappointments. That's tough because I try to always stay fairly upbeat. I try to always stay fairly positive. And, anybody who knows me, especially in my personal life, can tell you I'm reasonably easy to please. Just because this is the last thing I can think of, honestly, I remember being kind of disappointed in Mirage.
Mirage.
Yeah, I do. Okay. I can already see James just dying inside. But
I mean,
yeah.
I understand it more now. Like, I was super excited when it came out because obviously going back to a more traditional format of Assassin's Creed, but I think because it was such a short game, the narrative really suffered.
Yes. If they had given it another 6 months, a year, if they had put more in there, I would have been a lot happier with it. I don't necessarily like how they handled a lot of the story beats, but that's fine. Like, I can get past that. It's just there was a lot to do, and then all of a sudden there wasn't. And there was this great big map, and I thought, okay, this is great. They've got all these different environments. They've got these lowlands. They've got these deserts. They've got these big cities. Oh wait, 90% of everything's in the city.
I see
It's
what
just
you mean.
if they had put more in, I would have been happier. That's the last time I can recall feeling disappointed.
I think that's a valid comment. There's a lot of surrounding areas that aren't really utilized in Mirage. I mean, it's a big map. There's nothing outside. I mean, this could go off like maps of Baghdad that they've actually gone off when creating the city. And the city itself is, I guess, it's just people like going about their daily lives, really. There's not an awful lot of opportunities where Shadows is littered with opportunities, but some might say too many, and some of them as well, I'd say aren't very beneficial. Like for knowledge points, like the Andy Reloads was saying about the shrines for praying, it's 40 seconds of your day gone there. You don't really gain anything from it other than the knowledge point. From a gameplay perspective, not so great, but there are other things that are really interesting, like we mentioned before. The yotai are scattered across the map. There are other like targets. I mean, there's tons of targets really in Shadows. And yeah, I guess that's the difference between like an RPG and like a more stealth-based game, and that's really what Mirage was going for. And of course, we've got the Valley of Memory DLC coming out, so it'd be interesting to see if there's any more optional objectives and things in that. I know they're adding things to make it more interesting, so yeah, it's going to be cool to see that. And yeah, I understand where you're coming from with Mirage. And James, for you, I'm imagining something about Black Flag's about to come up in terms of disappointment.
So I've been disappointed with Assassin's Creed twice, maybe even 3 times.
Uh-oh.
And my first ever disappointment with Assassin's Creed was Black Flag, because it was I love pirates. Like, some of the best games I've played are pirate games, and I was so looking forward to it. And then it wasn't what I wanted from an Assassin's Creed game. And then that's all I'm going to say, because I waffle too much about Black Flag and my massive disappointments with it. But my next one was Unity.
Okay.
I was disappointed with Unity. More from its launch perspective. Like, you had so many games leading up to Unity, and that's the one you fumbled. Like, that's the one that really graphically changed the series.
Sure.
And that's the one you fumbled. And what makes it more annoying is the game that you released on the same day, because Unity was fumbled so much at launch, Rogue gets forgotten about by so many people. And I think there were two completely different styles of games. Rogue is shot like Black Flag, and then you've got this whole new system, and the new system was so bad that people forgot about Rogue. And I don't think I've ever recovered from that. And my next one was more of a personal one, was Valhalla. I was massively disappointed with that. I wish I could enjoy it, but I feel like it's too big, it's too bloated. I didn't really like the story. I didn't like the characters. It was just a really disappointing, all-round bad game for me, and that is my least favorite Assassin's Creed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I've done my tier list about 5 times, but Valhalla and Black Flag are always the bottom two. Just simply Valhalla for me, just by making Alfred the Great the bad guy, I think they fumbled hard on that. Like, as we were talking earlier about making Jack the Ripper the good guy, you made a good guy who was trying to unite a nation and build a country. You turned him into the bad guy, and I can't forgive them for that. So yeah, that was my three disappointing moments for the franchise. What about yourself? What about you?
Yeah, for me, some dark days indeed have been mentioned there, but for me, it's the Assassin's Creed movie. So I was involved in a lot of the early marketing for it here in the UK. I got to see the unedited version of the movie, and believe me, a lot of it was chopped away and destroyed in the editing room before it hit final release. The version of the movie I saw was very different, from the music to the editing, and a lot more scenes. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the deleted scenes on the disc.
I haven't seen the deleted scenes.
Honestly, it would have been incredible if it had all been put together. And the film I was seeing was shaping up so nicely. And then when I saw the final cut, I was just so sad and disappointed, because even though I still enjoy it, I know what's been taken away from it.
Yeah.
And you guys, here's some homework for you. You have to check out the deleted scenes, and you'll get a bit of an idea of what I saw back in 2016. But yeah, the final release of Assassin's Creed, the movie, were in the cinema, and I just thought, wow, they really let some incredible plot lines go, some incredible editing, some moments that should have been in this final version. I've got the art book, the concept art of the Assassin's Creed movie, really beautiful, and again, a lot of the ideas were just cut away, and it's really sad, to be honest. I would have always liked like a definitive, what is it they say, release the Snyder cut, release the Kurzel cut of Assassin's Creed movie. We'll get the petition going. It's a bit late now. It's been nearly 10 years now.
It's never too late. It's never too late.
Exactly. Never too late.
So that was it for me. And before we wrap up, Andy, and rotate on to our next guest, I was wondering, how are you spending Halloween this year? And are you planning anything Assassin's Creed related in terms of like spooky content?
Well, personally, for me, it's going to be an interesting Halloween. My wife is getting out of work before I do. I have to work that day, so I don't have a huge plan in place, but my mother has always been really into Halloween ever since I was a kid. She measures her success by the number of like small children she's able to terrify that come up to her house.
The fear mechanic, I like it.
I might go hang out with her. Might see. The only problem with my parents' neighborhood is not a lot of kids tend to come around anymore. But in my wife's family's neighborhood, apparently there's just bunches and bunches of kids, which might be nice to see. As far as Assassin's Creed content, we may be looking at some fun stuff. We may be looking at diverging away from Shadows for a while, and maybe we'll check out some of this fear system back from Jack the Ripper DLC. Maybe we'll check that out. Maybe we'll get that conversation going over on the Twitch page and the TikTok page and the YouTube page. I started the process of upgrading my internet, so if anybody's been on the streams before, they should be looking a lot prettier now once I get a technician out here to fix it.
It's good to hear.
Be looking at that on Tuesday and Thursday.
Very good. And before we let you go, Andy, just so that you know, one thing that I was going to mention before, the mechanic I forgot, but it's come back to me. I think that the disguise system would work really well in Hexe, as witches are probably recognisable in the towns and villages. I imagine some kind of disguise would work really well to blend in with the crowds, and this can bring back social stealth.
I'd love that. I would love that. Especially something in the neighborhood of Assassin's Creed Liberation, where it's not just okay, I'm either disguised or I'm not disguised. It's disguised for different settings, and maybe do I have a hand in building my own disguise? I could have a lot of fun with that, but I think that's a great idea.
Well, it's been great to have you, Andy. Where can people find you?
I'm over on, really nowadays, 100% of the time, I'm over on the Ones Who Came Before Twitch page. I do operate my own personal page on Sunday nights, but that's been a little bit rough. My wife is expecting in February. So
everyone's having babies. What's going on? There must be something in the water.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So I've been kind of stepping away from the personal page, but still trying to keep the team page going strong. And we're looking, hopefully, the push to affiliate soon.
Amazing.
If I can work my magic over on the Twitch page, we'll be just that much more official. But those are the plans. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh, well, we look forward to seeing it, Andy. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to move on to our second guest of the evening. So thank you for joining us, Andy.
Sounds good. Good night, folks.
So our second guest of the evening has joined us now. Welcome, Jebs, from the Ones Who Came Before's art team. We're thrilled to have you. This is our first in-person interaction, so really excited to get to know your thoughts. And of course, this is our Halloween special. So we're currently discussing the darkest moments in Assassin's Creed, how dark Hexe can go, supernatural abilities, the darkest days of Assassin's Creed in terms of disappointment, and also Halloween in the Assassin's Creed community. So welcome, Jebs, right at the end of the show tonight, but we're thrilled to have you. First of all, how are you spending Halloween this year in 2025?
Well, thank you for having me. This year, I'm actually going on a true crime walk, which is pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't actually know much about it, but I know that for some reason, a psychic medium is running it. So
wow.
Yeah,
wow.
That sounds incredible. That genuinely sounds super spooky. Very good.
I think this is the first time I've actually done something on Halloween, so
that's amazing. And where would the walk be? You say it's a tour.
It's Newcastle. Central
Yeah. Oh, amazing. I imagine that's creepy vibes at night. It's a cold city, Newcastle.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, Newcastle's scary in the daytime, let alone in the nighttime.
Yeah. That's amazing. For myself, I'm doing a Halloween party, so not too spooky because I'll be looking after a 2-year-old. James, how are you spending it?
I'm actually taking the children trick-or-treating.
Oh, nice.
So we've got the kids. The kids are all dressing up as their favourite characters. Okay, 3 of the kids are dressing up as the favourite characters. My son has decided for some reason he wants to be a zombie tennis player. Which is random. And I'm attempting to dress up as some form of an assassin.
Nice.
In some way, shape or form. I even managed to buy a red pirate sash that I could wear because I don't know if you noticed, but all the protagonists have a red belt. So I've tried to incorporate that into my outfit, but I don't know how it's going to go. I ordered everything off Amazon, so when it gets here, we'll just check it out. But
looking forward to seeing that.
Walking around dressed up.
You have to wear it on the stream next time.
That was the thought. I was going to dress up as I was going to do some samurai dress up.
Oh yeah.
With some Oni masks and stuff, but it takes so long to get here. They were coming in the middle of November. I'm I don't need it for November. I need it for October. But yeah, that will be me out walking in the cold. It'll be a lot better than last year. Last year I was dressed up as a gladiator, and I had a leather skirt on. It wasn't great. It was very cold, very, very cold.
Jebs, you'll also be walking out in the cold with the psychic medium. Yeah. That sounds amazing.
I doubt I'll be dressing up, but I think the one good thing about if you're dressing up for as an assassin, it's quite easy. I remember I did it back at home, and I just got a random towel, and it just worked. So
Very good. Yeah, that's it. You only need a bit of cloth, and we should do this. Really, we should do like a competition with the community, like piece things together around the house and build your assassin robes.
I don't know how that would go around my house, but we've just brought some. We were going to do like a Halloween photo shoot with the kids, so we brought loads of like white sheets and stuff, so there can be ghosts in the forest. So maybe I can wrap one of those up, and that can be my hood, maybe.
Very good. Well, we're going to move on to our main topic of the evening, Jebs. What would you say is the darkest moment in Assassin's Creed? Because me and James are agreed that it's the Assassin's Creed Syndicate DLC with Jack the Ripper. But where do you personally think is the darkest tone that we see in the series, or darkest moment?
yeah, no, I definitely agree about the DLC. I was literally about to say that, especially the ending part where
Right.
it's with Evie and Jacob, like that bit, it struck me right in the heart. Like I feel like it just did something different that other games just didn't do.
Yeah, I mean, it is such a dark turn for the series. And then I guess DLC content has a bit of a tradition now of going quite dark, because we mentioned before the Wrath of the Druids as well, Claws of Awaji now. It's almost like that supernatural, eerie feeling across all of them, especially in the new Shadows DLC. I mean, I find myself on horseback going around the island of Awaji, and I'm just stopped by looking at the wind, because it's almost like you can hear voices, and like almost like there are people in the bushes, but quite often there are, but then other times there aren't. You're just up a mountain, you'll see the wind or move leaves in a particular way, you'll hear voices, and I'm just feeling creeped out. And like with the lighting as well, before we mentioned the ambusher, who's the main target on the island, one of the Templars, there's a bit where you can go to like her childhood home, which is like a shack that's been burnt down, and the whole time there's just traps everywhere. You're just feeling on edge, like there's eyes on you. It's a really creepy vibe, and I guess that ties in nicely to where we think Assassin's Creed Hexe will go. This is of course the witch game set, did we say the 1600s, I believe it was, in Germany. There's a lot of like
17th century, something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumours and things floating around. So what sort of tone would you like Hexe to take, Jebs? Are you thinking like a darker one again for that? Or could they even go lighter with it? How do you think Hexe would work out? And what sort of things would you like to see for that main game?
That's a really good question. I think that the atmosphere is like something that's really important when trying to do a dark game, especially if it's set in something like the witch trials. I think highlighting maybe the horrors of that would be something really beneficial to the story and just setting that tone.
It's a very good point. And of course, the historical aspect lends itself nicely to the darkness as well. And I'm thinking as well, like the atmosphere, a lot of the gameplay could be at night, because she would be recognizable. I'm thinking like a female witch assassin maybe would be recognizable in the day. So maybe a lot of the kills, I'm thinking like poison and stuff, would happen at night. And of course, like you say, the actual historical aspect lends itself nicely to the dark tone. And before we mentioned perhaps adding like a fear system, some kind of like cackle laugh, which could be used to scare people. Even like spreading rumors about yourself, paying heralds, like in the original Assassin's Creed. Of course, you would be telling them to stop talking about you, but in this, it'd be the opposite. You'd be telling them to tell rumors, and you could make up rumors about a particular area, maybe like an assassin den in the forest, for example. And we also mentioned the rope dart being used to hang people from trees to keep people away, and this sort of aspect of fear being used to keep people at bay. I think there's a lot of interesting things they can do in Hexe, and yeah, that sort of brings me on to what we say about the atmosphere as well, in terms of like the weather. Maybe you could have a piece of Eden that could affect the weather. We've never had that before. You could have like thunder and lightning strike people from the sky. I mean, who knows? I mean, we don't know the full capabilities of an apple of Eden, for example, and maybe there are other pieces of Eden, and I'm sure it will connect in some form, because Shadows didn't really do that. It's one of the first games not to include pieces of Eden, so I feel like they're going to go hard on this one. What do you think? What sort of pieces of Eden do you think would be appropriate, Jebs?
Ooh, I think any of them could do really well, especially because witchcraft itself, I think it could go quite hand in hand with Isu artifacts.
For sure. What do you
Yeah.
think, James?
I yeah, I agree. I think choosing the setting as witch trials kind of tells me that they're leading very heavy into the Isu lore, because that for me would be the only way that it would fit into an Assassin's Creed game. Otherwise, it would be too mythical, too unlike Assassin's Creed, and then they could that could open them up to criticism. So I think it would have to be Isu related, whether they've found Isu artifacts, or they're related to Isu, the Isu like Cassandra is, or something like that would explain it. I think could be the only way that they could do it, really.
I agree. I think they fully have to explain it. It can't go too mythical, because of course I'm thinking back to the days of like Odyssey, where people were just disillusioned by what was going on. And Jebs, I wanted to move across to the community side of things with things like Hexe, Claws of Awaji, like the darker tone. I would say your art is quite heavily inspired at times by this. I imagine you thrive with Halloween. Is there any like upcoming art projects?
I was obviously my wrist was kind of messed up for the past few weeks, but I've been kind of brainstorming how, because obviously I think especially the fact that Assassin's Creed, each game is focused on a different culture, and they all have different kind of myths that I think could go well with Halloween. So I was wondering like maybe like how they would dress culturally to match their like Halloween costume.
That's cool. That's cool. And that gets me thinking to like Ezio, when he's at the, what was it, the firework display. I'm thinking like the trailer in AC2. What is that event called? Can anyone remember?
I think it was Carnivale.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one. Well remembered. Yeah, and I guess with the mask as well, that would be like a culturally acceptable one for him to dress as. And then with Eivor, of course, in the Gloucestershire arc for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, there's the skull mask, which is like the early days of Halloween. Begins with an S. I forget the exact name of it. But yeah, like the roots of Halloween come through in that one.
It's a good idea to think of what each assassin would wear as a Halloween outfit. I think that would be.
I think that's cool. I like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what Basim would wear as a Halloween
I was thinking with
outfit.
like to do with more like, well, especially when I was thinking of Altair, I was like, it'd be cool if he dressed as maybe like a djinn, and there's so many different interpretations of what that could be, because I know my friend who's kind of knows a bit more about it, she was telling me they're made of fire, and I feel like that has a lot of different potentials of how that could be drawn.
Yeah, I
That's
think
really cool.
Yeah, that you could almost do like each one would dress as their perceived demon that would be for their culture, I guess. So yeah, maybe someone like Basim would dress up as a djinn as well, maybe.
Yeah. That's really interesting. There's loads of stuff you can do about that. And the reason I mention it, Jebs, is of course I can't show you art on screen right now, but a lot of them are like the darker tone that I mentioned. And one that sticks out to me is Ezio as like a puppet with like doll eyes, like the Coraline movie. And it's super creepy. And I always use that photo for like your profile picture on things and whenever we're doing any promotional stuff, because it's just so unique. And I think it's great. I love the darker tone of it.
Thank you. It just came to my head one day. I don't know what I was thinking. It was more of, I think when I was drawing that, I was thinking more that he was kind of controlled like a puppet, which I don't know.
I think that's really cool. There was a trailer for Assassin's Creed Unity years ago where the Templars were like puppet masters and they all had masks on like skeletons, and they were like controlling the people of France, like they were dancing beneath them, and they were like marionettes. It was really cool. So yeah, it definitely gets me thinking along them lines. And to move it on to another definition of the word dark, Jebs, what would you say would be your darkest moment in Assassin's Creed in terms of like disappointment? Where has the series let you down and disappointed you? Have you had any dark days with the franchise where you've considered calling it a day, being a fan, or where does that come for you?
That is a good question. Honestly, I mean, I played a lot of the games back to back, so I don't really remember. I think Unity a little bit disappointed me, just because I felt like they could have done more with I forgot what his name was. The one who was, yeah, the one who was like kind of like a mentor to Arno.
Oh yeah.
Why can't
I know who you're on about. I can't remember his name.
Yeah. I remember I was like so excited while I was playing that bit because I was like, they're gonna build it up. He's gonna have this like great, like I mean, I kind of sensed the betrayal coming, but I didn't think it would happen so fast.
Pierre Belec?
Yeah, I think that was his name. So I mean, I guess that disappointed me a little bit. I just thought they could have done more with that.
Yeah, you just sort of expect them on the rooftop, don't you? You know when Mirabeau's been poisoned that it's obviously someone close to the assassins. And the interesting thing is that looking back on it, a lot of people these days think that Belec was right and the assassins were getting too political and a bit greedy and obviously control of the land. They were just influencing politics from one way to the next. I mean, Arno was a loose cannon doing his own thing, making his own assassin missions. He goes rogue at one point. They basically strip him of his assassin rank and he just goes off killing people who could have brought a bit of stability, because not all the Templars at that time were like bad. So like some of them actually wanted to bring a bit of like leeway and control back in like a good way, like Arno's stepfather, for example. They wanted to follow in that sort of Templar leadership where there's like limited control of the people. And there's one in the graveyard I can think of that Arno assassinated, who was actually going to step up and try and overthrow Germain, who is like a rogue branch of the Templars. So for sure, I can see the disappointment with that. And the thing is, with Arno being such a loose cannon and taking out these targets, he probably puts France into a worse state, and especially Paris, because his actions have consequences. And of course, with the revolution, it's just an unstable and turbulent time.
So you said that that some people felt like the assassins were too political. I always imagine the assassins are like another great movie franchise. The assassins are always like the Jedi. They've always been a political group, and the Empire are the Templars. That's how I always picture them. So I can never understand. I would probably say that Altair is the only part where it's not political, and then I think all the others are political thereafter.
Yeah, I think the actions of an assassin do shape the political scope of the land. And of course, even though Altair has this debate with a bureau leader, like this isn't politics, and he's like, but everything you do shapes the world around you, and that is politics. And I saw a tweet today from someone saying that Assassin's Creed is too political and it never needs to be. But that's the thing, isn't it? Really, they have to like have the actions have consequences. And yeah, I think to some degree to be an assassin is to be political, because you are like shaping the world around you and society and the way people in charge behave. I guess if there's like the fear of being assassinated as well, maybe you'll be less corrupt. And there's all these concepts around it. And yeah, I think it goes hand in hand with Assassin's Creed. And Ubisoft just needs to be brave to tell political stories that, such as like, for example, some people would say like Yasuke was a political move, but I mean, that was the backlash, of course, but really they stood firm and they didn't remove his character, which a few of us were worried would happen with the delays and things. Maybe they would like reduce his role down, but thankfully they didn't do that. And of course, we spoke recently about a cancelled KKK Assassin's Creed game, which again was potentially cancelled because of the political nature now in 2025. So yeah, I think Assassin's Creed and politics have to have a relationship to some degree, and you can't remove it entirely. And that sort of brings me on to my very final segment for us, Jebs. I was wondering if there are any spooky Easter eggs that sort of stand out to you in Assassin's Creed?
Do you mean like the quest? Like
sort of like, are there any like, I'm thinking like, are there any that stand out to you in terms of like a ghostly nature? So for example, a good one that I'm thinking of is Assassin's Creed 3, I think it is, where there's the headless horseman can be seen in the distance. I guess you'd class that as like a Halloween Easter egg, but maybe there's a few more scattered throughout the series that I've not thought of.
I mean, the first one that comes to mind I think of is that side quest where, well, when I played it with Naue and she saw was it like an Oni?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting that when I was playing it. Like, I don't even look at half the quests when I play them. So when I just saw this random ghost pop up, it was pretty spooky.
They're quite freaky, aren't they? Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I'm thinking as well, like the Valhalla, they had the seasons as well. So there was like, they did the Halloween season. I think it had the original name for it as well, beginning with an S. I forget the name of it, but yeah, they had like all the creepy interactions around the fireplace. I mean, James mentioned before, like the mist as well in Assassin's Creed Shadows. So you mentioned it before, Jebs, as well. The atmosphere of Hexe as well has to be right, and one way they could do that is by adding these things, like campfires, mist rolling in, even like Easter eggs in that game. I'd love to see some like Blair Witch style Easter eggs in Hexe. I mean, they've done it already with the teaser. Have you seen the Blair Witch Project?
I know a little bit about it, but I haven't seen it.
A pretty spooky one. I know the guys who were filming it were told just to pretend everything's real, and they just ran around this forest and there was cameras everywhere, and it's very like home footage, but they made millions from it because no other film really had done it. And then obviously it took off with films like 28 Days Later, and they sort of went in that direction with like the handheld footage, and it sort of became its own subgenre. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see like the homemade, like I'm thinking like what are they, like the upside down crosses and things. I like the way in the Hexe trailer it's the assassin insignia made out of twigs. I think that's a really cool reference to Blair Witch. So yeah, it'd be interesting to have some Easter eggs to maybe some other like spooky films. Sleepy Hollow is another one.
I literally was just about to say I don't I don't know many spooky Easter eggs in Assassin's Creed, only because my memory is so short that unless I've made a video about it, I can't remember it happening. So just going through, you've got like Sleepy Hollow, where Connor hears tales of a horseman, and in Rogue, you can actually go to Sleepy Hollow and fight him as a fightable encounter.
That's cool.
Which I didn't know about. And then you've got the Bloody Head Well. Apparently there's an ominous named well that has a chest in the bottom guarded by dozens of skulls.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so there's not a lot, I don't think.
But definitely some homework for our listeners, especially if this episode drops on Halloween. You can do that on the evening, guys. Have a very spooky Assassin's Creed evening. So, Jebs, massive thank you for joining us. We're going to rotate away one final time, and we're going to go into the pitching and Assassin's Creed section. So, massive thank you for joining us and for representing
Jebs. So, our final section is a pitching and AC game, and it is the Black Plague. And as I read this earlier on in the week, it instantly brought me to another film which has got Sean Bean in. I think it's called The Black Death.
I've not seen it.
And
Sorry.
I'm pretty sure he plays like there you go. Yeah, it's called Black Death, and he plays like it's a horror film, and it's set in medieval England, and he plays a monk who has a secret relationship with a woman, but basically it's around the time of the Black Death, so the plague and stuff. So I thought that when I read it, I was like, that could actually work, and it'd be really dark as well. It would be almost Hex-like.
Yeah.
It would definitely fit into that new era of games potentially.
It could definitely lend itself nicely to that. And I've written some notes just to give you guys some context. The Black Plague was the bubonic plague, which was spread by fleas and rats, but could also have been done by things like cats as well. I know rats always get the blame for it, but other animals could as well have done it. But yeah, it killed 50 million people, which is 50% of Europe at the time, known by different names: Black Plague, Black Death. It was in 1346 across Europe, had a massive effect upon society. And I'm thinking, for an Assassin's Creed game, what if this plague was spread by the Templars to wipe people out? What if they could find a way of releasing these plague-ridden rats in a certain area to take out the people in power so that they could jump in themselves and build a bit of like a shadow government? That's what I'm seeing, because it's all across Europe. There will be people taking advantage of this situation, so they spread their plague, wait for everyone to die, and then build their own cabinet or government of just like Templar influence. And at this point, assassins will have died as well from the plague, so I imagine they'd have to go underground, which is what happened in Edinburgh, for example. James, you're probably more familiar with that one than me, but there's like an underground city where people were trying to hide from it. But that's the thing, when things like toiletries are so disgusting back then, and of course they didn't have all the injections they have now, things like this could spread so easily. Cleanliness, hygiene is a big one that would spread it. But yeah, I just think it's an interesting concept of how they could spread this plague and then take over an entire country, because like a big chunk of them died. I mean, 50% of Europe, 50 million people, it's an incredibly high number. It's the number one killer at the time. It's just an incredible thing, really. You can't imagine something taking away life to that scope and magnitude.
No, that's when you obviously you learn about the plague and stuff at school and how bad it was, but to think about it, like 50 million people, that is a ton of, that is so many people, so many lives. And something like the plague was so undiscriminatory that anybody could get it and anybody got it. It didn't matter if you were in a castle or you were in a hovel. If you were going to get it, you were going to get it. I think for a setting it would work so well, because it would also lead into that mistrust of people. This stranger that comes to the village all of a sudden, it could be potentially that the village was okay, but now that you, the assassin, have turned up doing some recon, all of a sudden people start dying. So why not? Oh, it's the newcomer, he's bringing it with him. So it could be a narrative that could be almost as turning the public against the assassins. That we're supposed to be the good guys, but we're being perceived as bad guys. I think the Templars are very good at manipulating the narrative and the story. So again, I think that would be really well. I like the idea of them using it to basically get rid of whoever they need to get rid of and replacing them with Templar agents. I think that would work really well.
I think that's really interesting, James. I think that's a great way of looking at it. I love the idea of a stranger coming to town and the mistrust. People are not trusting newcomers. They only trust people who they recognise and know haven't got the plague. And one cough and everyone's spinning their head around in the pub.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I like thinking about how they can change the story slightly, how they can basically, everyone's complained about Assassin's Creed of late being the same story, just copy and pasted. So why not tip it up a little bit? Why not let's make it completely different? Let's have the assassins maybe not be perceived as the good guys. Let's have them perceived as the bad guys. Maybe let's have people start mistrusting them. You have to work to earn the trust of the people around you to get information or whatever, or you need to start eavesdropping more, social blending. In that, I think social blending might work really well in these situations. I also think almost like a disguise system might work as well. If you're able to disguise yourself, because if you walk through a town, I'm guessing back then, and you were wearing the sparklest of armor, people would be like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So, and then if you were to ask them some information, they'd be like, yeah, we're not talking to you. But if you were to go in rags and with a bit of dirt on your face or something, maybe that would encourage them to divulge a little bit more to you. So I think it's a great idea. Maybe someone can write an article about it. That would be a pretty interesting on where they could go with that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do that for our pitching and Assassin's Creed series. I mean, we can even use like what you've just said. We can just clip it down and add that as like the basis. But yeah, really interesting concept there with the trust. And in terms of like mechanics as well, like before we mentioned the fear system potentially coming to Assassin's Creed Hexe, that could be exactly the same here. Maybe you could do like a fake cough to scare people away from you, and then you could even move like guards out the way and things. Like just by pretending you've got the plague, you see the death rate. No one wants to be around that. You could scare people out the way.
Or yeah, that would be great if you could, like, especially if you were like, you know how Altair and Basim sit on benches and stuff, and they are able to blend in. Maybe if you felt a guard was getting a bit too close, maybe just a little cough or a little twitch or something that would be like, he'd look at you a bit weird and be like, oh, I'm going to step away a little bit. I don't want to catch anything. But as you were saying about the fear system, what about if we flipped it and it was like the wanted system, whereas people were more, the more you did, the more people got scared about being around you. So you're a newcomer to the town, so your fear meter would be quite high because they don't trust you. And then as you do stuff, that fear meter goes down as opposed to going up, as we spoke about for Hex. I think that would, if they just gave us a nice little mechanic that would change the way we thought about Assassin's Creed or played it, I think that would be a great addition. I do like the idea of the Black Plague. I think that would be...
It's something a bit different, isn't it? And I guess it does sort of go hand in hand with the sort of things we've talked about with Hexe, even though there's like a 300-year gap between the two. I think it'd be an interesting follow-on for maybe a future Assassin's Creed title. Maybe when Montreal finish with Hexe, they could look at something like this. And maybe if Hexe is in Germany, this one could be in maybe a country we've not really seen much, to be honest. I mean, we've seen France quite a bit, but there's lots of countries across Europe that it could definitely go into. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing because it literally covers the entirety of Europe. So there's so much they could do with it. It could travel across them all. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. It's just such a shock that that many people were wiped out. And I like the idea of the Templars influencing the events. I like the idea of the fear system that we mentioned, the disguises. And I imagine with the fear system as well, if it works in that regard that you mentioned, if your assassination targets, as you take them out, the distrust of the people goes up for you because they think you're linked to this.
Yeah.
Maybe they think that everything was fine until you came to town.
Yeah, I also like that potentially they could do this as, so we've only ever had one trilogy of games in the series. I know people have always said that you've got the Kenway trilogy, but it's not really a trilogy, it's just 2 games with 3 characters.
Right.
But this could be the start of like another true almost like a sequel to Hexe, maybe, where I know it's 300 years, but you could almost have the events from the end of Hexe tied to this sort of game, where you could even have like a relative related to the protagonist of Hexe. Maybe they could be who you're controlling now, or something that happened in the end could it directly influence the Black Plague or something. Because I think that would, if we did that, that would also build this sort of enjoyment that people. I saw a video the other day that was like, just give us more story with the same characters.
Yeah.
So maybe that could be, it would be the same but different. So they kind of give the fans what they want, but it's also a little bit different, where they can change it a little bit and play around with it. The witch trials never worked, so the Templars have decided to switch it up a little bit and have gone this way. And I think the possibilities that we're coming into now with potential games and remakes, I think it's an exciting time to be an AC fan.
It definitely is.
That's one I'm particularly looking forward to. So we'll see what happens.
And just to conclude our coverage of that, I really liked what you said before about the disguises, because I obviously just think of like robes and things, but of course, like the actual look of like your face, the dirt and stuff, your hair, these are all things you can change. So it'd be really cool, especially in like the RPG era that we're now living in. I mean, maybe the player can make edits to the appearance to improve the trust or distrust of guards, for example, or the people around you. And I'm just thinking like Oblivion, there's like a trust meter, but in that you like bribe them to like you. In this, you could maybe make yourself look like one of them, and you have to like edit your character's complexion, you have to do the dirt, you have to do the hair, and try and replicate the look of those living on the streets of where you are, so that they trust you more. Like, it's interesting how you could like try to replicate what's around you and hide in plain sight.
I think it's something that Ubisoft have done before with Breakpoint and Wildlands, is that you're able to lie in the dirt and you're able to cover yourself up so that enemies can't see you and stuff. So I think it's not out of their wheelhouse, but the reason I imagine it would work, could you imagine, technically, Ezio's family, I believe his dad was a banker.
Yeah.
So he's quite high up in society. Ezio wouldn't be seen speaking to someone of a lower class, and someone from a lower class wouldn't be seen talking to Ezio. So in that kind of respect, if you were to walk into a town during the Black Plague and you've got a sword, or you've got armor on, or you've got something that you got some nice silks on or whatever, people are instantly going to be like, no, I'm not talking to you. I'm not. It just wouldn't happen. So maybe if they could ground that realism slightly in the way of, okay, so this person, they're a farmer, they've spent all their day working, they're not going to talk to a god, they're not going to talk to a noble, they're going to talk to someone who looks like them and acts like them. So maybe eavesdrop, learn how they move, learn how they talk, and then incorporate that into how you progress, how you interrogate them, how you talk to them.
I like this. It's sort of like watch the world around you and become. And like that's another form of blending, isn't it?
Yeah, that
become a chameleon.
I think that would take, because all I ever see people talk about is that we need social stealth back. I don't think we do. I just think we need a different style.
Right, new mechanics.
And I think if we, because social stealth wouldn't have worked in Shadows at all.
Right, because of the crowds.
Yeah, one, because of the crowds, and Yasuke is the only black samurai in the entire country.
Yeah.
So him trying to social blend into someone would be even more ridiculous than Ezio trying to blend into a group of monks while wearing armor. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So Shadows not having social stealth makes sense. But if you could have it where you're blending in and you're learning your surroundings to try and help you better uncover possibilities, might be a good way to go. I think that could even work for Hexe as well. That could be something that they do as well. Maybe you learn that the guard is scared of water or is scared of night, and he's got candles around him, so get rid of the candles and he'll start to freak out, and all these things. I think if you could learn what's around you, I think that would be a really good way to go with social stealth and stuff.
I think that's a really smart way of doing it, and sort of like adapting and learning from your environment around you. Maybe you can find like a letter from his wife, for example, like detailing these things. And I just think it's interesting what you say there about like anticipating what's going on around you. And I also like the idea as well of learning mannerisms from people. So, for example, before with the Black Death topic, we mentioned going into a town and scaring all the locals, and you could maybe become one of them with your disguise. We mentioned, of course, the dirt mechanic that they could add, but I also like the idea of sort of interpreting things differently. So, like as an outsider, you are going to be like focused on the way everyone behaves, and you can learn these mannerisms. I'm thinking of like Inglourious Bastards, where Michael Fassbender's character learns how to do obviously the speech, the language of Germany, but he also learns like the mannerisms as well. Like the thing that catches him out in the end is with the numbers, with his fingers. Yeah, that like you could learn all these things just by watching people for long enough. And I'm also thinking of like Aragorn in Lord of the Rings in the pub. You know, he's just taking in everything around him. You can just be that person who observes, and if you observe for long enough, you will learn.
Yeah, because I think I'm trying to think what I think it happens in Awaji, that you're running around and you'll hear someone talking, and they're talking amongst themselves about something that's happened, and you're like, okay, maybe if this mechanic was in where I'm just randomly running around and you hear something in the background, you're like, oh, that could be interesting, and then you go and find out what they're talking about, or you go to where they're like, say they're talking about, I don't know, a hidden tomb or something. So you end up going there or whatever. the possibilities are endless, and I think there's so many different things that they could do that I just hope that they are able to implement. And the more we talk about it, and the more we push out the podcast to everybody, and the more we try and invite people, maybe more and more people will listen that can actually influence and change these things. So
that's it. I mean, we've had great feedback this week from the Assassin's Creed developers that we've reached out to.
Yeah,
it's really cool to know that they're on board and listening to the podcast, and hopefully some of them join us next year when things aren't as fresh in terms of like structural leadership.
Yeah, I also we also reached out to Marc-Alexis. Côté or Co. I don't know how it's said, but I heard someone say Côté, and I'm gonna stick with that. So, and he said that I believe it was that he'd seen what we were doing, and he was very happy with what we were doing. And it makes him happy that there are so many fans out there that are so dedicated to this franchise. So that was something that was quite nice for us, I think.
Yeah, definitely aware. And I think a few of the other developers as well got back to us, maybe not wanting to be a public face of Shadows, but they're definitely very supportive of the podcast, which is really cool because we're only on episode 15, so it's nice to know that we're on Ubisoft's radar for it. And yeah, just to conclude, just a massive thank you to everyone who's been watching the series so far. Episode 15, this was our Halloween special. We've covered all the dark moments in Assassin's Creed in terms of like the most brutal moments. We've gone over the darkest corners of Assassin's Creed. We've also gone over dark as in disappointment. But yeah, we've covered loads of stuff, and hopefully you guys at home have a great Halloween. And just to conclude, we're now ranked on Google, so you can find us by searching up Rally the Creed Live or Rally the Creed. You can rate us on Spotify. That would really help us out, guys. Get involved with the show. You can comment, obviously, on any other platforms, but if you want to contact us directly, there is a contact button in the top right-hand corner of the Ones That Came Before website. Massive thank you to all our guests this evening. Shame Carvin couldn't join us, but we had Andy, Jebs, and of course my co-host James. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah, this has been good. Thank you for having me join. Obviously this was the first time that we co-hosted together, so this was fun. I enjoy, the more I do of these little chats with everybody, the better it becomes. Like the one I did with Calvin was so funny, and I don't think I've laughed so hard in my life. He was such a funny guy.
We really appreciate it, James. And of course, next week you're hosting again because you're joined by BPR Gaming, Billy, who's actually a friend of mine. So gutted I'm going to miss that one. I'll actually be on holiday, but I'll be back the week after, 2 weeks after. I'm away for about 9-10 days, guys, but I'll leave it in James's capable hands. But yeah, looking forward to the show with BPR Gaming when that one comes out. And yeah, just to conclude, massive thank you to everyone who's donated TikTok gifts tonight. Your support helps us fund the Ones That Came Before website. We really appreciate it. So signing off now. Have a great Halloween, guys, and we will see you soon. Thanks for listening.
Good night, everybody.
See you soon, Assassins.